It's June 1940, and Europe's in chaos. German tanks are rolling toward Paris. Allied troops are scrambling to escape, and Britain and France are staring down a nightmare. Then, on June 10th, Italy jumps into the fray, invading southern France. It's a flop, but it stretches the war across the Mediterranean, from the Horn of Africa to the Strait of Gibraltar. This Mediterranean river is packed with choke points: Gibraltar, Malta, Alexandria, that are the lifeblood of Britain's global empire. If Britain wants any shot at winning, it's got to lean hard into its imperial power. Buckle up, because this is a wild ride. Since the mid-1930s, Italy's been flexing its muscles, gobbling up territory in Africa and the Balkans. The British are sweating, convinced Italy's a bigger threat than it actually is. At first, the Royal Navy pulls ships from the Mediterranean to guard home waters against German U-boats and a possible invasion. But Churchill says, hold up. He knows. Britain's got to play the long game, turning this into a grueling war of attrition. That means keeping the Mediterranean open to tap into the empire's resources. By 1939, the British Empire Commonwealth spans a quarter of the world's population, nearly 470 million people, and a third of its landmass, with resources to match. From day one, this is an imperial war for Britain. London uses its navy to choke Germany's trade while securing supply lines. Why? Because Britain imports 60% of its food, 90% of grains, half its meat, mostly from the empire. Winston Churchill's son, Randolph, puts it bluntly: lose the empire, and we're not just a second-rate power, we're 10th-rate. We'd starve. There's no choice but to fight to the end. Mobilizing the empire, though, isn't a walk in the park. Britain leans on its white dominions: Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Newfoundland, South Africa, and India for troops. When Britain declares war in 1939, Australia and New Zealand are automatically mixed. But this time, they also make their own declarations. New Zealand's Prime Minister Michael Savage sums it up: where Britain goes, we go. Where she stands, we stand. There's strong support down under, but sending troops overseas stirs debate. Volunteers flood in at first, but low pay and rules blocking key workers from signing up make recruitment tough. South Africa's a messier story. Most of its white population, descendants of Dutch settlers, speak Afrikaans and have bad blood. With Britain from the Boer Wars, some even root for Germany or neutrality. After a heated debate topples the government. Prime Minister Jan Smuts commits to the war but struggles to fill his mobile field force. Laws barring non-Europeans from fighting mean only 5% of military-age men can enlist. Canada's the last big dominion to join. Declaring war on September 10, 1939, Prime Minister Mackenzie King treads carefully. Anglo-Canadians are all in, but French Canadians, scarred by the 1917 conscription crisis, aren't as keen. King, who opposed conscription back then, relies on French-Canadian votes, so he goes for limited liability, focusing on air and sea forces to keep casualties low, though he still raises an infantry division. By September's end, Canada's army balloons tenfold. Overall, Commonwealth mobilization is patchy. The phony war until April 1940 makes the fight feel less urgent, slowing volunteer rates. But when Germany invades France in May, recruitment surges, especially in Australia and New Zealand. New Zealand even brings in conscription for overseas service, pledging every atom of its strength to the empire. India's a huge player too. Its peacetime army is already 250,000 strong. Drawn from so-called martial races like Sikhs, Punjabi Muslims, and Gurkhas, seen as loyal by the British. But mobilization's tricky. The Indian National Congress, led by folks like Gandhi, demands self-rule for their support. When Britain offers only a vague review of India's status, Congress ministers quit. Still, the Indian army stays loyal, forming 5 new infantry divisions and 1 armored by 1940 all-volunteers, often joining for money or housing. By early 1941, 48% of recruits are Punjabi, 11% Nepali. Other colonies chip in too. Kenya, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Malaya supply naval personnel, while many serve as bases. Britain keeps a tight lid on anti-colonial movements to maintain control. For smaller colonies, the war's impact is massive, but Britain's not the only empire in the game. Mussolini's Italy, though smaller, has big dreams. He hopes a German victory will hand him the French fleet. France itself, Corsica, or colonies, like Tunisia. Italy's late invasion of France through the Alps is a bust, and when France surrenders on June 22nd, Italy gets little. On June 11th, Italy bombs Malta, but Britain strikes first, raiding Italian Libya from Egypt with armored cars and tanks. Italian troops, trained for colonial policing, not modern war, are outmatched. In one clash, they form a 19th-century fighting square. British tanks tear it apart. In 3 months, Italy loses 3,500 men to Britain's 150. Britain can't push further due to its own shortages. But France's fall frees up Italian forces. Mussolini demands an invasion of Egypt to seize Alexandria and the Suez Canal. His commander, Rodolfo Graziani, a desert warfare expert, isn't thrilled. Italy's early success in East Africa, pushing back a small British garrison, fuels Mussolini's confidence, but Graziani's short on vehicles, water, and supplies. After delays, he invades Egypt on September 13th, aiming for Sidi Barrani, just 80 kilometers from the border. He boasts, "The English will soon learn they're up against the best colonial army in the world." But his troops dig in, building fortified camps and stall. France's collapse shakes its empire too, while 7,000 French troops join de Gaulle's. Free French, most stay loyal to the Vichy regime. Britain frets over the Vichy Navy, 4th largest globally. Admiral Darlan calls British inquiries heirs, circling a dying man, and vows to scuttle his fleet before Germany gets it. Hitler doesn't seize it, likely to keep Vichy cooperative. Churchill, though, isn't taking chances. The French fleet. At Mers el-Khabir, 40% of their navy is a threat. British Vice Admiral James Somerville delivers an ultimatum: surrender, scuttle, or face attack. Jens Hall, the French commander, says he'll fight back. Negotiations drag on, but at 5:54 p.m. on July 3rd, Somerville opens fire. It's a slaughter. French ships, guns facing land, are sitting ducks. The Britannia explodes, killing 1,000 Provons, sinks. Dunkirk runs aground. Strasbourg escapes to Toulon. Somerville later writes, "My heart wasn't in it, sure. Not allowed a heart in war." France loses 1,297 men. Britain, just 2. France is furious, but Churchill sees it as a show of resolve. Britain also seizes French ships in Alexandria, neutralizing half their fleet in a day. Mussolini's disappointed Germany doesn't hand over French colonies. He turns to East Africa, where Italy's 1935 conquest of Ethiopia formed Italian East Africa. Mussolini, styling himself defender of Islam, eyes British colonies like Somaliland to threaten the Suez. His commander, Amadeo di Savoiesta, knows the colony's vulnerable, with ill-equipped Ascori troops. Still, he launches a daring attack on British Somaliland in August, capturing Kassala and Berbia. It's a morale boost, but losses are high, and Italy lacks a broader strategy. French colonies split. Chad joins the Free French, but Vichy's? Pierre Boyson holds West Africa. A British Free French attack on Dakar fails, denting de Gaulle's cause. Mussolini's also eyeing Greece. From his Albanian protectorate, he wants to expand into Yugoslavia or Greece. Yugoslavia's too pro-German, so Greece it is. His son-in-law, Galazo Chano, claims Greece's army is weak and Albanian minorities will welcome Italy. But King Vittorio, Emanuele, and others warn, the Greeks are tough fighters. Germany opposes the invasion, fearing British intervention via Greece's neutrality guarantee. Mussolini promises to wait, but changes his mind when Germany moves into Romania. Hitler's always warm-upping me. He fumes. I'll occupy Greece and let him read about it. On October 28, 87,000 Italian troops, including the elite Giulia Alpini division, invade from Albania. Greek dictator Ioannis Metaxas, tipped off, responds to Italy's ultimatum with a firm allure, cest legere, later immortalized as Oki. No. Italian troops, like Lieutenant Gensorico Fontana, march in rain and darkness, hoping for victory. But Greece's mountainous border slows them. The Ferrara, Siena, and Centauro divisions, with 163 light tanks, push toward Ioania, while Giulia attacks the center. Greek resistance is light at first, but at Kalpaki, General Katsamitros makes a stand. Italian columns enter a plain under Greek artillery fire. Lacking anti-tank weapons, Greeks improvise, throwing blankets to jam tank tracks. Grambala Hill sees fierce fighting. And Italian air raids cause horrors. One Greek soldier recalls holding a dying comrade, his heart broken by the carnage. In the Pindus Mountains, the Giulia division falters against Greek reservists and reinforcements. By November 8, Greeks capture Distrato, forcing Giulia's retreat with 20% losses. Greece goes on the offensive, invading Albania. Mussolini, furious, orders bombings of Greek towns. It's a desperate move that deprives his front line of air support. In Rome, talk of a truce surfaces, and Hitler's livid his plans disrupted. He doubts Italy can win. By late 1940, Mussolini's blunders killed German hopes of pulling Spain or Vichy France fully into the war. Hitler shifts focus to the Soviet Union, giving Britain breathing room. Italy's navy, the world's fifth largest, could threaten the Suez but sits idle. A July clash at Calabria exposes its weak command. German Admiral Wilhelm Canaris notes, the Italian navy is excellent, but its leadership's a mess. Docked at Taranto, the fleet's a sitting target. Britain's HMS Illustrious launches Operation Judgment on November 11th to 12th, using slow but reliable Swordfish torpedo bombers. New duplex piston torpedoes slip under nets, hitting Littorio di Oilo and beaching Conte di Cavour. In one night, Britain cripples half the Italian fleet. Commander Marcantonio Bragadin laments, "It's like a great naval battle we can't recover from." Italy scatters its ships, weakening its position further in Egypt. Graziani's time runs out. By December, Britain's fears of invasion. Ease and Commonwealth troops, including Indian units, pour into Alexandria with Matilda tanks and Hurricane fighters. General Richard O'Connor sees the power of mechanized warfare. On December 9th, Operation Compass kicks off. British forces smash through Italian minefields at Nibewa, destroying 13 M11 tanks with Matildas. An Italian doctor calls it the nearest thing to hell. Italians fight back with grenades, but it's one-sided. 4,000 are captured, with Britain losing just 2 men. The assault rolls on, capturing Tumor West and cutting off Sidi Barrani. Sandstorms and Italian artillery slow things, but by day 3, Sidi Barrani falls. A British soldier quips, "I've got 20 acres of officers and 100 acres of men." Britain captures 38,000 Italians, 237 guns, and 73 tanks. Italians retreat west, battered but not broken. In East Africa, Italy's success fades. As the rainy season ends, Britain reinforces with South African and Indian troops, modern weapons, and air power. General Archibald Wavell aims to restore British prestige and reinstate Ethiopia's Haile Selassie. Italian air forces are outclassed, and Esta's troops retreat to strongholds, leaving the countryside open. By early 1941, Mogadishu falls. With Italy losing 30,000 men, by December 1940, Britain's got some wins. It's fended off invasion and struck Italy hard. Germany can't counter Britain's imperial strategy, and as historian John Darwin notes, the empire's sheer scale makes its defeat hard to imagine. But Britain's not winning yet. Germany dominates Europe, U-boats threaten the Atlantic, and Britain lacks the troops to retake the continent. Commonwealth support comes with strings. Dominions want their contributions recognized as sovereign, not colonial. Australia uses the war to renegotiate ties with Britain, while Indian nationalists like Gandhi and Nehru see opportunity. Nehru warns the empire will go to pieces and no one can put it back together. Canada eventually sends ground troops fighting through Europe to the Rhine by 1945. By December 1940, Britain's holding its own, fending off invasion and landing blows against Italy's faltering empire, from North Africa to the Mediterranean. With the Commonwealth rallying, despite tricky politics in places like Canada, South Africa, and India, Britain's imperial might, spanning a quarter of the globe, keeps it in the fight, as historian John Darwin notes, making defeat seem unthinkable. But the war's far from won. Germany dominates Europe, U-boats prowl the Atlantic, and Britain's stretched thin, unable to retake the continent yet. The Dominions demand their contributions be seen as sovereign, while Indian nationalists like Gandhi and Nehru seize the moment to push for independence, warning the empire's days are numbered. This global struggle, fueled by imperial ambitions and gritty resolve, sets the stage for a long, brutal war, and we'll keep unpacking it. Thanks for watching, and stay curious.